Hi everybody, welcome back to That's Debatable. Today we're going to be talking about the time that I almost died. And I'm not trying to even be funny, like I literally almost died. So we're just going to get straight into it. I don't think I've ever shared this one, but you just have to listen to it. So here we go. So over the weekend, I got hurt. And I'm like prone to injuries, I guess. Actually, no, knock on wood, bitch. I am not prone to injuries. Let me not put that out to the universe. But I've always had issues with like my hip flexor and my knee because of dance and track. And my party trick, for those of you who don't know, is whenever gasolina comes on, and I don't know if you guys know the beginning, it's like, and then right before the beat drops, I drop into a split. Doesn't matter where, don't care. I've done it in Mexico. I've done it in Europe. I've taken this party trick internationally. She's all over the world, worldwide. And I started doing this when I was like 16, 17, because again, I was at dance and they would make you put you in like a circle and they'd be like, go ahead, like what's your big move? And that was my big move, is dropping into a split. And it's really sad when you start to realize that you get older and your body can't do the same things that it can when it was 16 years old. And I'm not that much older, I'm 24. But this weekend was very telling that, oh, I can't do that no more, because I was at my cousin's birthday party at a bar and they always put gasolina on because they know that, oh, she's about to drop. And there's multiple videos of me doing this. And I should have taken it as a hint the last time I did this. Because I feel like the universe was giving me a sign of like, girl, you better stop. Because if not, we're going to stop you. And I did it in Jersey City at this club or bar called 626. It's like this gay club. And they were like, we're going to do a dance competition. We're going to do dance competition. And if you guys watch my TikTok, you guys saw what my knees look like right after. Because I thought it would be such an amazing idea to climb up a pole, like a good like 5-foot pole, climb all the way to the tippity top and drop into a split. And I did it, and the crowd went crazy, dollar bills thrown everywhere, hee hee hoo hoo. Then, I'm dancing on the floor, whatever. And when I tell you, as I'm dropping down, the first thing that I thought in my head was, oh my God, I can dislocate my knee. And I was like, I don't want to, it's fine. I still did it. At that point, I'm up at this pole. What am I going to do? Like, I can't just like be like, all right, never mind. I just climbed it for no reason. It's a jungle gym. And I was like, you know what? Maybe that was a sign from the universe that like we should chill out, because I feel like they gave me a warning, especially with how my knees looked. They were black and blue. They were swollen. I had cuts all over them. Like it was bad. It was bad. And this weekend, because I'm a dum-dum, I was like, they played Gasolina, I'm drinking a little bit. And I was like, you know what? Everybody's like, oh, everybody knows Gasolina comes on, they make a circle. And they're like, back up, because she's about to drop into a split. I did exactly that. Jumped, drop into a split. And usually what I do is I drop into a split. Oh, I can't even move my knee right now. And I swing my other leg around and I do the split in the opposite direction. Then I go. It's like a very choreographed thing now. It's been years of me doing this. And once I dropped into the split and I went to go swing my leg around, I don't know what happened, but the moment that my knee hit that ground, I felt this is my kneecap, my knee. I felt it just and I was like, oh my God. And I was like, whatever, just go through the pain. Like I was a dancer and I've had my hip flexor tear on stage and you have to keep going. And I tried to get up, and in that moment, I just collapsed. And there's a video of it. It's so embarrassing. My friend Alexa has it. She's showing everybody. And I'm like, girl, can you just please? It was a really down moment in my life. And essentially, I don't know what I did to my knee, but it hurts so bad, and it's been almost a week and it still hurts. I can't really walk in it too much. I can't walk in it for too long, but that's the end of that party trick. And that was a moment that it flashed back, and they were like, we have to take you to the hospital. And it brought me back to the moment where I got rushed to the hospital because I literally almost died. And I was like, oh, whatever. I'm always somebody that's like, if it doesn't hurt too bad, it's fine. I don't need to go to the hospital. It's mad expensive to breathe air. So do you think I'm going to go and pay to go in the ambulance? No, you got me all the way messed up. So everyone's like, go to the hospital. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to go to the hospital. Leave me alone. Whatever. It brought me back to when 2 years ago, oh my God, I woke up one day with a little tummy ache when I was like, oh, my stomach hurts. And I was like, oh, whatever, it's normal. Maybe I'm just getting my period. You know, when you get like period cramps, like it felt like I was just getting cramping. And I was like, it's fine, whatever. Look back. And again, I'm not somebody that likes to go to the hospital. Like even when this whole knee thing happened, I was like, I'm not going to go to the hospital. And they're like, last time you didn't go to the hospital, you almost died. And I was like, okay, well, maybe, you know what? Still didn't go to the hospital though. But that time I had to. And, you know, I'm just casually sitting there. I'm like, oh my God, my stomach's kind of hurting. Like, I feel like I got cramps. I didn't get my period. So maybe it's like coming. I don't know. And my boyfriend comes and he's like, how are you feeling? Whatever. I'm laying down and I get up and instantly I feel like my stomach just like did like a 360 flip. Like I feel like they're doing parkour in there. And I'm like, oh my God, I gotta go to the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom. Sorry if that's TMI, but whatever. And nope, I don't have to go to the bathroom. I'm just in excruciating pain. So I'm sitting down and my boyfriend's like, maybe you should go to the doctors. Like maybe you have something, maybe you should go to the hospital. And I was like, I'm not going to go to the hospital. I'm not going to do it. And I was like, you know what? But I will go to the doctors. Let me go to the doctors. So I went to my doctors very hesitantly though, because my doctor, I'm so sorry. And if he probably doesn't watch this, trash. My doctor is trash. Every time I go to the doctor, it's always just take an Advil, take a Motrin. I could have told myself that. I get more answers from Google, which is very wrong. Never Google what you have because it's always going to end up with you dying. Always. And at that point, Google was right. Because I Googled it and they were like, oh, this may be your appendix bursting. This may be like something popped in your stomach, something, whatever. So I'm telling the doctor that and he's like, I was like, is my appendix bursting? Did something pop? Do I have an ulcer? Do I have something? I don't know. This isn't just like a regular like tummy ache. I had too many gummy worms. Like this is like genuinely hurting. And he's like, no, you shouldn't, verbatim, you shouldn't Google what's wrong with you because if it were that easy, then we wouldn't have doctors. Babe, then you shouldn't be a doctor because he sent me home and he was like, just take an Advil. If it hurts, if it keeps hurting for the next week, come back in a week. And I was like, a week? I was like, I don't think I could deal a week with this pain, but fine, whatever. He gave me like a strong ibuprofen. I take it and I go home and I'm like, you know what? Let me just try to sleep. It off. Maybe it's just like a super intense like stomach ache. So I'm trying to sleep. And the ibuprofen helped for about like an hour. And I was like, oh, he was right. Like, whatever. Super condescending, but right. Like, that's fine. Go to sleep. I take a nap. Maybe like 30 to 45 minutes later, I wake up and I can't move. Like, I genuinely can't move. My body starts shaking. And I'm like, oh my God. Anytime that I think something's wrong with me this bad that I'm shaking, I instantly think I'm going to explode. Like and not explode like, oh my God, I'm going to vomit. Explode like there's going to be millions of bits of me all over this wall. Like, I don't know why my brain just goes straight there, but like, I'm genuinely like, I'm about to explode. And this is going to be I'm going to be the first person to do it ever. So I mean, hey, trailblazer, but I'm going to explode. So I start sobbing and my mom is like, what's wrong? And she's like, come downstairs because I live in the attic. And I was like, I can't. I tried to like get up in the most sad way ever. Like literally just like couldn't get up. I couldn't move. And then my boyfriend Johnny comes and he's like, you have to go to the hospital. Like, what do you mean you cannot move? And I was like, I can't move. I just have a really bad stomach ache. And I was like, but I literally can't move. It hurts so bad. And he's like, can you get up? And I was like, yeah, I can get up. Like, that's fine. I just like, right now, I just needed to lay down in this one position. I try to get up and I can't even walk. Like, I literally can't even walk. And I was like, I'm prone to like stomach pains, but this pain was like unheard of. So Johnny's like, I don't care what you say. We're going to go to the hospital. Like, call 911. And I was like, we're not going to call 911. If anything, we're going to call an Uber before I call 911. So we drive to the hospital. I get into the hospital and it just intensifies. Like, it just literally at this point, like, I'm crawled into like, my head is in my legs and I'm just holding on to myself. And they admit me into the hospital. And of course, because, you know, I think this was around COVID time, I want to say. So hospitals were super like intense. They were jam packed, and like I was scared to step into a hospital because I felt like it was like zombie land. That I was like, oh my god, if I walk into the hospital, I might get COVID, and if I have COVID with this stomach ache for real, I'm gonna die. Like at that point, like I'm not even no last breath. I'm just gonna collapse. Like that's it. I'm just dead. So we're waiting in the waiting area, and it gets worse. It gets worse. It gets worse to a point where my boyfriend has to go up to the people, and they're like, I don't know what's happening, but it looks like I'm pale, I'm sweating. And I was like, oh my God, can you imagine if I just had to take a big kakis? And that's why I was just sitting there. And I was like, because the kakis couldn't come out, and it was just like harboring inside of me. That's what I thought. Cause I was like, oh my God, I just gotta do kakis. I just gotta do kakis. I was like, I don't know how they're gonna get these kakis out of me, but like, this is gonna hurt. I was like, oh my God, I just have to go to the bathroom. I just have to go to the bathroom. And I keep trying to go to the bathroom, and I'm like, it's just not happening. I'm sorry, this is TMI, but it just was not happening. So they see that how much pain I'm in, and I'm in like the bed, and they're like, well, have you gone to the bathroom? And I was like, girl, you think I haven't tried? I was like, yes. I was like, I have not gone to the bathroom. No, because I can't even stand up. Like they had to wheel me in. And I know they definitely were like, oh my God, this bitch definitely just has diarrhea and like doesn't know how to deal with herself. And I'm like, I have tried to go to the bathroom and I can't. And they're like, oh, so you're just constipated. And I was like, that's what I'm saying. I was like, give me a laxative then. I literally was like, so can I take a laxative? And they're like, no, because if you take a laxative and you do that, like we have to rule out, we have to make sure that you're constipated before we give you an actual laxative. Because if you're not constipated and we give you a laxative, you may explode. Like, that's it. You just may explode. And I'm waiting there, and then they're like, all right, they were like, okay, they're touching my stomach because my stomach feels like hard at this point. And then they go, oh, are you pregnant? And I was like, are you calling me fat, dude? I was like, I'm not fucking pregnant. And they're like, are you sure you're not pregnant? And I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm not pregnant. I would know if I'm pregnant. And they're like, you might be giving birth. And I was like, oh, this kaki's turned into a baby? I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. What do you mean? I was like, I'm not ready for this. I was like, I haven't read the books. I didn't take the vitamins. What are you talking? My boyfriend's there, and he's like, no. He's like, I have an IUD. So it's very unlikely of me to be pregnant. And they're like, well, we don't know what this pain is. Like, you're saying that you can't move. You're saying that like you feel like you have to go to the bathroom, but you can't. Like, that's indicative of like that you might be giving birth. And I was like, offended, because I was like, you think I'm fat? Because they did it right after he touched my stomach too. And he was just like, yeah, your stomach is kind of poking out. And I was like, that's how it always looks. So I was like, all right, well, that's a little offensive. Don't tell a woman that, like, her stomach is poking out. Even if it is, don't tell her stomach is poking out. That's rude. And I'm in pain. So they're like, let's do like not a mammogram. What's that thing called? An ultrasound. And let's do a mammogram. Let's make sure that your breasts are good too. He's like, we'll do an ultrasound. So they do an ultrasound, and I'm sweating. Because I'm like, first of all, this pain is like a pain that I've ever felt in my entire life. And now you're telling me that I'm going to have to deal with a different type of pain for the next 18 years of my life because of the fact that I might be low-key giving birth right now, and I didn't even know it. Like, I didn't even get my maternity pictures taken. Like, I'm going to be sick. I'm going to be sick if one day I just pop up with my friends and I have a newborn. And they're like, what happened? I was like, I don't know. I thought it was a stomach ache. Turns out it was a child. They do the ultrasound. I'm sweating, and they're like, yeah, no, you're not pregnant. And I was like, oh my God, phew. I was like, okay, well, that's fine. That's cool. And they're like, but that doesn't really help us though, because we don't know what's wrong still. And I'm like, okay, I mean, period. Like, I don't know either. And then they go and I get x-rays done. I get stuff put in me. Like, they went through the whole rounds of it because they could not figure out why it was that this pain was happening. And they were like, okay, we're going to rule out that it's just like a regular stomach ache because it's been more than 10 hours of you feeling this. Usually stomach aches, like, they'll come and go, but they won't be consistent and they won't get worse. So they're like, you might be constipated. So here's this pill because we don't think anything's wrong. We think you're constipated and you just can't, pass the bowel. And I'm like, okay, cool, great. So my body just, can't do what it's supposed to do and go to the bathroom. That's fine. So they sit me there, they take my blood, they do all of this. And they're like, take this pill. And I'm like, here we go with the pills. Everybody's just giving me like a glorified Advil here. Thank you so much. I could have done this at home, but now I'm paying $1,000 for an Advil bottle that I have at home. The Advil in CVS is still expensive. Like, we're just wasting money at this point. And they're like, just take this. We're gonna send you home. It's nothing serious. It's nothing to be worried about. You're just constipated, and that's like kind of, these are signs of constipation. But here's a pill. Go home. You'll be fine. And if it still hurts in a week, go to your doctor. And I'm like, a week? Why? First of all, why you think I'm gonna be okay sitting in this pain for a week? You're crazy. So I take the pill, and honestly, I don't know what Advil that was because I was like, ooh, I feel fine. I was like, oh, wow, I actually feel better. I'm walking around, doing my lunges or whatever, just casually, I guess, just to make sure that my body is fine. And at that point, I get home around like midnight around there or 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And I feel a lot better. And I'm like, okay, this isn't bad. Like, cool, great, awesome. I go to bed and then I guess the pill wore off because I woke up around 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. When I tell you, I woke up and the pain was not only worse, it was excruciating. And I thought it was bad before I got to the hospital. This one was like, I was dizzy. Like, I was dizzy. I couldn't see straight. I was like, oh my God, maybe they do have a baby and they just didn't know. And I'm, again, because I lived in the attic at that point, I go and I'm like, I feel dizzy. I feel like maybe I might pass out. Let me go to my parents' room. Because when you go to your parents' room and you look in the middle of the dark and you're like, I threw up. Like, that's what I was about to do. And like, literally just to be like, Mom, I need help. I don't know. So I, on my way down to the stairs, and instantly it felt like the world had collapsed on me. And I just started vomiting. And keep in mind, I didn't eat anything all day because my stomach was hurting. So I was like, I'm scared to eat anything. And when I tell you vomiting, I was like in the dark, mad upset. First of all, I can't even see. I'm scared of the dark. And now I'm vomiting in the dark. Like, now I'm double scared. Because now what if oh my God, I'm vulnerable in the dark. And just throw up down my stairs. And then when they turn the lights on, my mom comes over and she goes, are you drunk? I just came back from the hospital. What do you think I was doing over there? Just taking shots with the nurses? No, I'm not drunk. And I was like, no, Mom. And then I'm just crying and throwing up. And then when I turn on the light, I realize I'm not throwing up like food or water. I'm throwing up like blood. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm turning into a vampire. This is it. Like, this is what's happening. Like, oh my God, I'm going through a transition now. And I get scared. And I'm like, oh my God. And my mom's like, okay, wait, this isn't okay. You have to go to the hospital. And I'm like, no, they told me I can't go back there. And she was like, what? Like, as if they kicked me out. And I was like, no, they told me I can't go back until a week later, until it hurts more. And she's like, it looks like it hurts more. You're throwing up blood and like all this. I don't even know what it was. And I'm like, no. I'm not going to go to the hospital. I need to sleep. That's what I need to do. I just need to sleep. I think this was since they told me I was constipated, I was like, okay, well, it came out. I got it. It's done. It came out. Congratulations, Emely. You did it. I mean, it didn't come out the way that I preferably wanted it to, but it came out. And so my mom cleaned it up, my angel. And she's like, okay, just go to bed. Just try to go to bed. And I'm trying to go to bed. And I cannot go to bed. I'm like rustling. And at this point, I start crying. And I'm like, oh my God, this pain, I can't deal with. I was like, I can't. I'm going to die in this bed. I'm going to pass out and throw up on myself and choke on my vomit and throw up. That's how I'm feeling right now. But I'm still not going to the hospital because I would rather die than spend thousands of dollars just for them to give me another glorified Advil. And again, I'm rustling. I'm like going back and forth. I'm trying to find a comfortable spot that my body wouldn't hurt as much, but it hurt regardless of what I did. Finally, by like 5:30 a.m., I end up finally being able to go to sleep. And I'm asleep and I'm like, oh, wow, beautiful, glorious. Like, I did it. Job done. I'm going to wake up tomorrow. I'm going to feel a lot better. 6:30 in the morning comes around and all I hear is a pounding on my door. And I hear it because I'm mad nosy. So whenever I hear like anything out of the ordinary, whether it's like a chisme where somebody's like whispering of like, oh my God, did you hear? I'm going to wake up. My ear's going to hear it before I wake up. So all of a sudden I hear the pounding on my door. It sounds like the SWAT team. And my ear wakes up before my eyes do because I'm like, oh, what's that? And I'm like, well, first of all, that's rude. I've literally only gotten like an hour of sleep and they're pounding at the door at like 6:30 in the morning. Open it. My dad opens the door. And the person at the door is like, is Emely Moreno here? And my dad's like, yeah, why? And they're like, oh, we need to get her. We need her. Can she come down? And my dad's like, no, she literally just got to bed not less than an hour ago. Like, what do you need her for? And then, because it was the police at my door. And the police is like, is she over the age of 18? And my dad's like, yes. She goes, so we don't need to talk to you. We need to talk to her. And my dad's like, she cannot come downstairs. She can't move. Like, you have to tell me what's happening. And I'm listening to this and I'm like, oh my God, the police is at my door. I'm going to get arrested. I was like, yo, what is happening to me right now? I'm throwing up blood. They're telling me I'm pregnant. They're telling me that I can't cock keys right. And now I'm going to get arrested. I was like, and then I'm rethinking everything that I did for the past week that I'm like, did I do anything illegal? And I was like, no, I didn't do anything illegal. Like, I did like the normal illegal stuff. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's a joke. Take a joke. No, I was like, but I didn't do anything illegal to get arrested, to have the cops at my door at 6:30 in the morning. Like, what? So then the police finally my dad's like, she can't come downstairs. She just went to bed. Like, just tell me what's happening. And the police like, we have to rush her to the hospital right now. And my dad's like, what? Like, what do you mean you have to rush her to the hospital? Like, what happened? And the police officer's like, so the hospital called us this morning and the doctor was looking over the scans and her appendix is bursting. And it is like hours away from it completely, and not intoxicating, but basically poisoning my body. They're like, because just casually, the doctor just so happened to look at the scans because they're like, oh yeah, I guess they like do their rounds of like, oh, what happened today? And they're like, this girl, she had constipation. And they ended up taking an extra look at my scans and seeing that my appendix was actually bursting. And it's disgusting. And the police is like, we need to rush her into surgery now. She has to be in surgery within the next hour. If not, like, essentially my body's going to poison itself and I'm going to die. And my dad was like, okay, that's all you had to say. So he goes upstairs and he's like, Emely, we have to take you to the hospital. And I was like, what? No, like, no. I don't want to go. And he's like, no, your appendix is bursting. You're gonna die and you have to go into surgery. And I was like, well, when's the surgery? He goes, today. And I've never been in surgery. I've never been put under, nothing. Like, this is my first surgery. So I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, this is, no. I can't believe this is happening to me. And the police is like, we're going to call an ambulance for her. And I said, again, like I said, sir, I'd rather call an Uber than an ambulance. Call Johnny. He's going to take me to the hospital. We're not paying for an ambulance. You got me all the way fucked up. And the police is like, we can escort her in the car. And I said, I don't want to go in your car, sir. You just told me I'm dying. You just told me my body's trying to fight me from the inside. Now I'm going through a lot of things in my head. I don't want to no, I want my boyfriend to come and take me to the hospital because if this is the last time I die, I have to say goodbye. So they call Johnny. Johnny picks me up and they take me to the hospital. And I didn't think they were serious when they said like, you're going to go into surgery within the next hour because at this point, I'm not even in the waiting room. I got the VIP experience as if I went to the hospital with the promoter and the promoter was a police officer. Let me right in. And I'm sitting there and the nurse comes over and they're like rushing. And I'm like, what's happening? And they're like, we're going to give you morphine for the pain. I was like, oh, so we didn't need Advil. We needed something a lot stronger. We needed morphine. And I can't buy morphine at CVS. So I was like, okay, blessed. Thank you so much. Finally, you're giving me something that's going to help me. And I was like, but why are you giving me morphine? And she's like, because we have to rush you into the to the surgery room because your appendix is literally bursting inside of you. And we're going to take pictures of it. So you have pictures of it afterwards. So you can see how bad it actually is. And I'm like, I don't think I want to go into surgery. I'm really scared. I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, I'm really anxious right now. Like, they're like, this is the only way that we can take it out is we have to do surgery. But it's going to be just 3 incisions. You're going to be fine. It's going to be okay. This happens all the time. And I was like, I got angry at that point. And so did like my mom and my sister and Johnny. They're like, why didn't you say this last night? And they're like, well, we didn't see it. We didn't see it. And we just sent her home. And by the grace of the universe, the doctor decided to look at the scans one more time. And he's the one that ended up seeing that her appendix was bursting. And they're like, but if we don't rush her in now, she's gonna die. And I was like, oh my God, okay, I guess. Now I'm on morphine, so now I'm high as I'm high all the time. And I was just chilling. I was like, it's fine. Like, death is what, all metaphor, like, shut up. Like, shut up. They rushed me to the hospital. I get the surgery. They rushed me into the surgery room. Get the surgery. And I wake up and, oh my God, I wake up to a nurse. And this story just low-key kind of gets worse, but not even worse, but like low-key. And I guess it's just like my odds, right? I wake up and there's a nurse right in front of me, right in front of my face. And she goes, hi, baby, how you doing? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine, I guess. And she's like, I just have to check your incisions. So in the past, when they used to take your appendix out, it used to be a scar right here. Now they do 3 incisions. So or they have, obviously there's another option now where it's not less invasive, but it doesn't leave as big as a scar. So they cut in through your belly button. They cut a little thing here and they cut another one right here. And she took the hospital gown off. And I look at myself. I said, oh my God, I got stabbed. I said, I got stabbed. They're equivalent to like stab wounds. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, you stabbed me. And she's like, no. Like, it's fine. It's stitched up. But if I wanted, ew. Just paint the picture for y'all. If I wanted to grab my finger and stick it inside my stomach and say, hello, I could have easily done that. Could have very easily done that. And I was like, oh my God. At this point, if I would have known they were going to do this, I would have been like, then give me the liposuction. Take out a little bit. Just drain it, please. So I'm like, oh my God. I'm scared. I'm like, okay, this is bad. I was like, oh my God. She's like, but no, it's done. The worst of it is done. You just have to go to the bathroom. When I went into the bathroom, my whole body was like black and blue. Like my whole chest and my stomach was black and blue and yellow. Because I guess I got undertones of yellow. Slay. That's nice to know when I go pick out makeup and stuff now that I have undertones of yellow. But I was like, oh my God, this looks ridiculous. I look like Frankenstein, dude. Like, what did you do to me? So then she goes, you only have to stay here for like a night. That's it. And then we'll like let you go a night or 2. You'll be fine. Okay. And they only let 1 visitor in because again, it's COVID. I can't really walk. And I'm also connected to all these like, there's IVs in me. There's stuff. There's like different things poking me. Like there's all this stuff with me that I can't just like get up casually because then everything would just rip apart. So I'm like, okay, cool, great. And I think like 8 hours, I have to go and get like a certain shot put in me. I guess that's just like medicine for the pain. They showed me the pictures of my appendix. And first of all, yuck. Second of all, oh my God. The actual picture of my appendix, it was first of all, blink, flamed up. All you see is like the pus and the mucus, all of that stuff, just literally popping out. I'm so sorry, y'all. This, again, we might have to do like a little trigger warning before this because this is like, it's bad. It was bad. And the nurse is like explaining to me what was happening. And she goes, so do you see all like that white, like pus and mucus and stuff? I was like, yeah. She goes, if we wouldn't have caught this and you would have stayed for the rest of the day for like another hour or 2, you would have died. All of this would have went and it would have intoxicated your whole entire body and your body would have shut down. Because it would have just poisoned it. Because an appendix is like all like the garbage in your body. And you know what's crazy too? I really thought that because I had mochi ice cream, this is what happened. Because I was on a mochi ice cream binge. Like the only thing I was eating for like 3-4 days in a row was mochi ice cream. So when it burst, I was like, oh my God, it was a mochi. It was a mochi. It was dead ass the mochi. And I was like, so I've been eating a lot of like mochi. And she's like, what is that? I was like, it's kind of like a gelatin with like an ice cream inside. I was like, but was it that? And she goes, I mean, we can't definitively say what it was, but I mean, I guess. So from that moment, I can't eat mochi anymore. I'm like really scarred. That's like side story though. But she goes, she's showing me, and I was like, oh my God, I really almost died. But she's like, but you know what? The worst of it is done. She was wrong. I got an infection. And I was like, ooh. So at this point, I found out I'm anemic. So they were like, okay, you're all types of fucked up. So now we got to keep you in the hospital because now we're scared that you might get an infection. And if you get an infection, you're dead, done, gone. That's it. You're done. And I'm like, okay. So now I had to stay in the hospital longer. And oh my God, one day I woke up, and again, they come in and do your shot. They give you like the IV shot to give you your medicine. And I was asleep, and I was sleeping like this on my side. And because they didn't want to wake you, because nurses are, the most amazing people in this entire world, and they need a lot more props than they get. But she didn't want to wake me because she saw that I was like I was having trouble sleeping. And also, again, I don't sleep. I have a phobia of beds. And I think I spoke about this previously. When I say I have a phobia of beds, I wasn't kidding. It's not just hotel beds, but it's also hospital beds. That is probably the biggest I could not sleep. My body went in, I was having anxiety because I was like, I don't want to get an infection. Also, I can't really move too much because if I move, the needles are going to pop up out of me. I felt like I was in Saw. Literally, I was in Saw. They were like, and I was on a hospital bed. And I was like, this bed is definitely so dirty. If you take off the cover, it's just a blue mat. Oh my God. I was like, so I was having really trouble sleeping, and the nurse knew that. So I finally went to bed, and she didn't want to wake me up. And because I was sleeping like this, so just kind of as a visual, I'm sleeping like this, all delicate and beautiful like an angel. And she goes to put the IV in, and I'm a pretty light sleeper. I guess it depends. I'm either or. But at the hospital, if I'm sleeping in a bed that's foreign to me, I'm an extremely light sleeper. So when she went to go poke the needle, I woke up and I was like, ah, and I kicked her. I didn't kick her on purpose, but it was just like a reflux. And when that happened, she just poop, but not into the vein. So I was like, she's like, oh my God. She's like, oh my God. I thought you were asleep. And I was like, oh my God. So then now I'm bleeding profusely. Bleeding profusely. And I have a picture of it too. And I'm like, oh my God. And she's like, she had to take it out and then put it into my actual vein. And she's like, I thought you were sleeping, but you kicked me. And I was like, I didn't kick you because I wanted to. I kicked you because I was sleeping. And I was like, I didn't know what was happening. I just accidentally nicked your elbow, and her elbow just went boom, straight into the vein that it was not supposed to go into. So now I'm bleeding profusely. And now I'm like, am I going to get an infection because of this now? And I was like, oh my God, I would have rather been pregnant. This is nuts. I was like, this is crazy. So they end up putting it in, and they put a little, what's that thing? A tape over it. And I fall asleep, and I wake up, and the tape is filled with blood. And it's dark red blood. And it's just and it's all encapsulated within that little piece of tape there, because obviously the tape is pretty strong. They don't want the IV to move. And I just looked down, and I have a picture of it. And what's that thing called? Your upside down elbow, your forearm. I'm going to call it, this part. This is your upside down elbow right here. And my upside down elbow was not only filled with a little pocket of blood, it was black and blue. It was black and blue, and it started going down, and I'm really veiny. So all of these veins were just popping out. And then the doctor, now it gets worse. Then I wake up the next morning, and again, I have a certain type of medicine that they give me. And that day, I guess nurses do these rounds where they go, and people that are studying to become nurses, they go to the hospital and they shadow a registered nurse. And the registered nurse teaches them, this is what you should do with real life patients. So it's kind of like a shadow project, whatever. And that day, I just so happened to get the girls. I happened to get the girls that were studying or shadowing. And I was like, okay, I mean, this is low-key dangerous, but I'm not going to say anything because this is the hospital. This is the hospital, but you're dealing with some serious... If you give me the wrong drugs right now, I will die, my love. I will die, my love. So there was and I have a video of it too, because at this point, when I tell you, when you start doing social media as a full-time job, your mind changes. So the whole time I was in the hospital bed in pain, I'm still making TikToks. I'm still out here like, in the club, we be vibing. For real, body bruised, all of it, still making TikToks. That's why I have a picture of all of this. So I have a picture of the blood. I have a picture of everything. And I have a video of when the registered nurse is asking one of the students, okay, she just had a case of appendicitis. She might be prone to an infection. This and this and this. She's anemic. Blah, blah, blah. What medicine do you have to give her? And then the student grabs it and goes to change my IV bag and like puts it in the chart, I guess, because they carry around those portable computers. And she's putting it in. Registered nurse is explaining like what I went through, like, and what typical protocol you go through when you're dealing with a patient that just got their appendix taken out. And as that's happening, the student is grabbing my medicine, inserting it into the computer, and she's going to go and plug it in to insert it into my IV. She puts it up. She's going to untap it. At this point, the teacher stops talking and she looks over to the computer, and she's literally about to plug the medicine to my IV. And the teacher's like, wait, stop. She goes, what is that? And she's like, flaxen. She could have said hydrogen peroxide. She could have said heroin. I don't know what she said. But the teacher looked at her so wild crazy. And she goes, are you crazy? And she goes, that is not her medicine. And I was like, first of all, if anybody should be pissed, it should be me. And I'm sitting there staring at, and now the student is shaking because she's like, oh my God, I messed up. Like, I messed up. And I was like, okay, but this is not like Jamba Juice where I messed up your drink order and I gave you a Mega Mango instead of a Razzmatazz. You're about to give me like, I don't know what you're about to give me. Like, you're about to give me something that's going to knock me for the rest of my life. You're crazy. And the teacher was like, and that's why you have to be careful, because if she would have given her this and this would have happened, and this, and potentially she could have died. I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh my, and I'm literally sitting there in the hospital bed. Now my hair is matted down because of how long I've been in this hospital. And I'm like, don't tell somebody that. Don't tell the patient that. First of all, I just got poked with a needle and now I'm black and blue, blood seeping down. She's about to give me OD I don't even know. Probably like morphine on 1,000 that I'm not even supposed to get. And like, the teacher's like, you know what? Leave the room. Because then the teacher gets off. And she was like, because if you're not careful, you're not messing around. This isn't a regular job. If you're not careful, you can kill somebody. And I was like, and I was that somebody. So I don't know why I'm being used as an example here. I was like, I got furious. I called my nurse in with that little button. And I was like, I don't feel safe. And they're like, why? I was like, I don't feel safe. And one of the nurses was I tried to ask her for water or something, and she was, oh my God, rude. She's like, I have other patients. I know, and I'm one of them. Like, oh my God, rude as I was nasty as fuck to her. And I was like, this is completely unprofessional. I was like, that scared out of me. I'm really anxious. I'm really nervous. I'm also sleeping on a hospital bed. And I have a phobia, and it's real. That phobia is real. Because people in the comments are trying to eat me up. They're like, oh my God, relax, just sleep in a bed. It's real. I can't do it. It gives me anxiety. And I was like, and now I had a student that's not even a registered nurse. She doesn't even have her bachelor's yet. I don't even know what she has. Probably is just out here willy-nilly giving me whatever the she wants. At this point, she couldn't give me Pepto-Bismol and I wouldn't have told the difference. So they were like, okay, so we're not going to put her with the student trial people. We'll maybe put her with like somebody else. Like, let's not put her with, that, because I was like, that's ridiculous. I have a video of it too. And I was like, this is because I knew that something was going to go wrong. So I'm recording them low key like this as she's like yelling at them. And she's like, right as she's about to put the IV in. And I was like, thank God I got this on camera. I was like, I will send this to the news. I swear to God. But yeah, no, it was traumatic to say the least. I couldn't walk for like the first week. Just because I just couldn't walk. It was just bad. It was bad. I was in the hospital for like 3-4 days. After that, things got a lot better. They knew not to put an IV in me while I was sleeping because, but yeah, no, I left the hospital bruised up and with a story to tell, I guess, because And I mean, appendix bursting, that's like very normal. But the thing is, I guess what the doctor was explaining to me, that it's really hard to catch when your appendix is actually bursting because they never know what it really is. But luckily, the doctor did end up catching it. And you know what? I never went back to that doctor. I never went back because I told him too. I was like, "Is my appendix bursting? Do I have an appendix? I don't know. I don't really know the geography of me inside, so I'm not sure if I have one of those." Um, and he said no. He told me to stop Googling stuff because that's why doctors exist. But clearly, Babs, you didn't do your job correctly. But also, I'm not. It's not even to fault him either because the hospital also didn't catch it. They ended up having to catch it at like 6 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, that was the time that I almost died, and I wasn't even being like funny about it. I dead ass almost died. And the worst part is after I got out of the surgery, and the nurse was like, I remember when she looked at me, she goes, "But the worst is done. Like now it's just recovery." Nah, girl. Nah, I was gonna get traumatized a little bit more. I was there for a couple of days, and it was fun. Hospital food is not great. I had like ham and cheese, couldn't even eat. It looked like a hot mess. But if it's all up on my TikTok. It was all up on my TikTok. Videos of me in the hospital bed on the TikTok. See, that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother time. Why instinctively I went to just like post stuff. But yeah, I think actually now it's been my appendix burst around sometime this time. It was around Halloween. And I had my Halloween costumes all figured out. And I was like, damn, all right, well, I guess I'm not going to the parties. And was it? I think that was what now? 3 years ago. That was 3 years ago. So 3 years later, here I am. I had lived to tell the story. Obviously, I'm one appendix down. But yeah, that was the time that I almost died. And then a registered nurse tried. Nope, actually, let me not say registered because she wasn't an RN. A student nurse almost killed me. So not only did my body try killing me, but then I almost got murdered by somebody else. So, I mean, hey, it's a full circle thing. But I also found out I'm anemic. Slay. Not entirely sure what that means, but I have it. Ally. So that's it for today's episode. I'll see you guys next week. And yeah, if your stomach hurts and it hurts really bad and it's not cockies and you're not pregnant, tell them to check your appendix. That might save your life. Oh my God, did I just save a life? Call me Dr. Moreno. Bye, guys.